Hey guys, my name is Mitsumiyo, and today I'm happy to say that we now have the full reveal of the new season Crystal Guard coming to Rainbow Six Siege, and it's going to be bringing some interesting changes to the game. And so to start things off, the new operator for the offensive team is named Osa, and she has access to 2 talent shields. Now at first glance, it just looks like a deployable shield, but for the offensive team, and admittedly, that's basically what it is. But where things get a little bit more complicated is that it is completely clear. Offense and defense, no matter what side that you're on, are going to be able to see through to the other side. On top of that, you can place this in a lot more locations, mainly windows. And if you wanted to, on those double windows, you can place it on the top or the bottom of it. This is going to open up a lot more possibilities on allowing you to take over, literally take over some of these windows and watch and hold angles while you're trying to plant the objective. On top of that, though, and I think this is where things are going to get even more interesting, is that you can use it essentially as a normal shield. If you wanted to run around as if you were playing as Blitz and gather information and push into the objective, you can do so. It is a little bit higher so that you're not like a normal deployable shield, leaving your head exposed while you're walking around with this thing. You can crouch down and hide behind it and push into a room with a confidence that at least as long as they're directly in front of you, you're going to be safe from retaliation. Now, it does come with some downsides though. Mainly the impact nade. If you're hiding behind this thinking that you're safe and then out of nowhere an impact nade takes out the talent shield, you might be in a sticky situation. On top of that, you also have to remember that it is completely clear, and so if a roamer comes across one of these things, they're going to know if it's safe to push on forward because they can literally see to the other side. Also, if you are defending from this position, they're gonna know that you're there, and so if you try to peek your head over and take them out, they have a pretty clear idea of where you're gonna pop your head out from, and they can pre-fire that spot, so it may not go in your favor. There are going to be some strengths and weaknesses here. With all that being said though, I have a suspicion that Osa, in the right circumstances, is going to be incredibly powerful. Imagine you're using her shield as if you were a shield operator. You walk into the objective, you figure out where defense is located, and then you place her shield down into a safe corner. This opens up a lot more possibilities. If you had the diffuser, you can plant it from the safety of that shield, or you now have an angle that is defensible that normally would never have been on offense, and you can cover that flank for your team who are now trying to plant said diffuser. It is going to be really difficult to deal with if you don't have the necessary tools on defense. And so just in general, I'm really looking forward to seeing how players use her in the next couple of weeks and months. I think that she's going to be a little bit of a meta changer in some circumstances. I'm really looking forward to seeing the creativity of the community when it comes to this character. Now, Osa isn't the only cool addition that we're going to be getting at the start of the season, because a few operators are also going to be getting some pretty significant upgrades, mainly for IQ, Twitch, and Fuse. Fuse in particular is finally, after long last, gonna have the ability to use his gadget on reinforced walls. This is his biggest weakness. Fuse is always limited by the surfaces that he can use his gadget. Most walls are going to be reinforced around the objective, or the windows are going to be taken out by your teammates. There's hardly any surfaces where his gadget has any meaning or any impact on the match. And so the way that Ubisoft is finally addressing this is allowing him to use it on said reinforcements. And so while I don't think this is all of a sudden going to make Fuse a top tier operator, he still has a lot of drawbacks, but this is finally going to make him a little bit more viable, and I think this was something that he needed to have a long time ago. Speaking of something that should have happened literally years ago, Twitch is now going to have the ability to jump with her drones. Not only is she going to have access to 3 drones now, one during the preparation phase, which is just like every other drone in the game, being able to scout out and figure out what's going on defense, and then during the normal round, you're going to be able to use 2 of her shock drones. The thing is, though, is that they're no longer shock drones. They've gotten an upgrade, and now they're laser drones. They increase the damage up to 5, and they also have a much further extended range. I think the reason why Ubisoft is doing this is that while Twitch is a powerhouse in the weapon department, she's always struggled with her gadgets. It maybe was somewhat useful at taking out a Legion or an Elamine that was away from the objective, but as soon as you tried dispatch of a bandit battery or a mute jammer, because that shock required you to get relatively close to the action, if a defender was anywhere nearby, they're gonna promptly hear that thing slowly rumbling around and take it out. And so now the fact that it has the ability to jump and it's got that extended range, it should be a lot easier for you to put this into a position to be able to snipe those things from further away. Now don't worry, it still does have some drawbacks. Just like before, it will go on cooldown after you use a couple of the charges. I think they've also reduced the amount of charges that you have from 3 down to 2, probably to offset that extended range and that mobility. But just in general, I think this is a fantastic change for Twitch. And then finally, IQ is getting a very nice quality of life improvements. She is now going to be able to ping the exact location of gadgets with her own. And so if you have a teammate that is directly below a wall that is electro clawed, but they're having a hard time figuring out where that electro claw is, you can whip out her own device and then ping its exact location. If you notice that a teammate is about to step into a goo or an Elamine, you can ping that as well. It's not going to be a game changer necessarily, but the thing about Rainbow Six Siege is information, being able to relay information, and this is going to make that a lot easier, especially if you're someone who doesn't necessarily want to use your microphone. Now, the one thing that I might be the most excited about with this update isn't Osa or the operator changes, it's the fact that Ubisoft is finally trying to solve the visibility issue. You may have noticed that over the years that they've added an incredible amount of customization and camos into Siege, and some of them on particular maps have caused some problems with visibility. You blend into the background. It makes them almost invisible in the right situations, and in a competitive FPS game where a split second is going to mean the difference between you winning and losing, it gives them that unfair advantage. And so Ubisoft's solution to this isn't to rework all of the cosmetic items, that would be unreasonable, but to have a soft glow around the outline of an operator. You may have noticed throughout today's video that especially at further distances, I think that's when it kicks in a bit more, you'll notice that they kind of pop out from the environment, and it's fantastic. Ubisoft has said that they are going to be fine-tuning it on the technical test server based off of our feedback, but hopefully long are the days where we're going to have players getting that unfair advantage because of the camos that they're using. Now, moving on over to the map reworks, 3 maps are getting changed with this update, and that includes Coastline, Clubhouse, and Bank. Bank is probably seen the most adjustments, and that's mainly down below in the basements. If you guys are anything like me, you probably loathe this objective because of all of the metal railings everywhere. The amount of times I have lost engagements because of those railings is ridiculous. And so now they're gone. They've standardized most of the windows. They've changed up the lines of sights. The elevator is now a lot larger, so you're going to have more room to move around in there and set up different positions. And just in general, I was happy with the changes that they made. Moving on over to Coastline, they've also made a couple of tweaks here and there, mainly in the VIP room and in the center of the map. VIP, the window, it's gone. It's now being replaced with a normal wall that you can reinforce, making it a lot more defensible for the defensive team, especially if you put some utility in there. I think the reason why they've done this is that they want Penthouse to be a little bit more interesting. Penthouse is probably one of the weaker objectives in this map, and I think that by giving defense more ways of fortifying the VIP room, that will hopefully kind of liven up that objective. As for the center of the map, they've really locked down the amount of angles that offense was able to use. Not only have they placed a metal sheet over the big overhang that's in the direct center, so that's going to be something they're going to have to now work around, but they've also closed off a couple of the windows and the different ways that you can look into the luggage hallway. So it's going to be a lot easier for defense to transfer from one side over to the other, which admittedly was one of the biggest weaknesses on that map when you were playing on defense. And then finally on Clubhouse, the grand finale, they added a door. they added a door in the bar section. I'm assuming they did this because no one picks this objective. It's got to be the least played out of the bunch. But yeah, they added a door. In general, I'm happy with the changes that they made, but Ubisoft was touting that all of these combined was going to feel like a complete top to bottom rework, as if we got like Favela. And this doesn't feel like a top to bottom rework all in combination. I like the fact that it's now going to spice it up way more maps than just one. And so when we play on all three of them, it's going to allow for a lot more variety and learning, which is one of the best things about Rainbow Six Siege. But I won't lie that I was kind of hoping that we were going to get maybe more than just a door on Clubhouse, but that could just be me. In general, though, I am pretty happy with everything I've seen with Crystal Guard. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more content, but with Osa and the changes to a few of the operators, I think it's going to be changing up the meta at least a little bit, especially when it comes to Osa. Only time will tell, but I'm really crossing my fingers that we can see a little bit more variety in the gameplay and the meta, because it has gotten a little stale at some points. Let me know what you guys think of this update. Are you happy with the changes that are making to Twitch and Fuse? Were you hoping that we were going to be getting something bigger or grander with this update? Give me your guys' thoughts down below. But yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.